Here I'm going to give you some help in solving this three-part question. Basically, we're given this green figure here, and we're asked to find the volume. But there isn't one formula we can use to find the volume of this shape. This is what we call a composite shape because it is made up of three different pieces that we can find the volume of. There's a cube, there's a triangular prism, and there's also a rectangular prism. And we have formulas for volume for those shapes. So if we find the volume of each of those three shapes that compose this green figure, we can then add them up and have the volume of this entire figure. So part A is saying find the volume of the cube. Do you see the cube? A cube is like a box where each side is a square. All of the side lengths of a cube are the same. Now, the volume for a cube formula is very similar to the volume of a rectangular prism, where the rectangular prism formula is the length of the prism times the width times the height. But remember, for a cube, each of those is the exact same because the length, the width, and the height are all the same. So for a cube, we basically will just refer to the length, the width, and the height as just the side length. So it's side times side times side. Or you could write that as side to the third power. So what is the side length of the cube here? Multiply that by itself 3 times and you'll have the volume of that cube. Now let's find the volume of the triangular prism. Do you see that? A triangular prism has bases, 2 bases that are both triangles. So here I'm showing one of them, and then there's an identical triangle behind it. And then each of the corners of those triangles are connected. Now, the volume of a prism is always the area of that base times the height. And in this case, the base is a triangle, and the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height of that triangle. And we're going to multiply that by the height of the prism. So first, let's look at the triangle. You have to put in a little work to find out what is the base length and the height of this triangle. So the base is from here to here. And it's not giving us that. But it is telling us from here to here is 19.4. So what is this length? Well, remember, for a cube, each of the side lengths is the same. So this length is 7, because it's a part of the cube. Each of these side lengths was the same. So if this is 7, and the whole length of the entire figure across the bottom is 19.4, what is the length of this base? So you need to calculate that and put that right here. Now also, what is the height of this triangle? Remember, the height of the cube is 7. Each of these lengths is the same. So if the height of the cube is 7, what is the height of our triangle? You want to put that here. And then lastly, we want to know the height of the prism. Now, the height of the prism, some people call it the length. It's basically the distance from one of the bases to the other base. So the distance between these two triangles. Do you see how deep this figure is? What is the distance from here to here? That's what you put in this part of the formula. Then you multiply it all across and you will have the volume of this triangular prism. Now in part C, it says find the volume of the composite shape. Now we've just found the volume of this figure and this figure. but we didn't find the volume of this one down here. This is what we call a rectangular prism, and I think these are the easiest of them all. This is just the length times the width times the height. So it doesn't matter the order that you multiply them, you're just saying what is the length of it, what is the width of it, and what is the height. And that will be the volume of that bottom figure. Once you know that, then you you add the volume from part A of your cube, then the volume from part B of your triangular prism, and then the volume of your rectangular prism down here on the bottom, and that will give you the total volume of the entire composite shape.